We're at Sonos' Boston office today to check out the company's latest product. Unlike what many expected, it's not a voice-controlled speaker. It's this, the Sonos PlayBase. It's a giant speaker meant to be placed underneath your HD TV. It provides excellent audio whether or not you're watching TV, watching a movie, or streaming music to it like it came with all the company's other speakers. We're talking to executives and product designers today to find out who it's for, where the idea came from, and how they're going to convince people to spend $700 on a speaker that goes below your TV.
PlayBase started like most of our products, which is that we went into the real world to learn how people were using their homes and sound. And so the main insight that we discovered was that actually in the real world, most televisions sit on top of pieces of furniture. They're not mounted to the wall. And yet most of the sound solutions that people provide are sound bars, which are meant to be mounted to the wall. So we really said, wow, there's something missing here. There's a place that people want sound, but they're not really getting the right form factor. How can we fix that with this new PlayBase product?
The PlayBase does everything you'd expect a Sonos speaker to do. It connects to the internet and lets you play music from any streaming service you pick, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all the rest. They're all there. It also plugs into your TV via an optical audio cable, and so anything you play on your TV will come through the speaker. Sonos spent a lot of time working to make sure that the audio quality would be great, regardless of whether you're listening to a movie or playing albums off of a streaming music service.
We say, not just how is this going to work for your television, but how is it going to sound musically? And so we knew going in we wanted to have as much flexibility as possible. We wanted the product to be able to make sound that was wide, but also to have that nice center channel. And so we knew the mix of that would likely let us do both music and home theater. But you'll notice, like if you go through that setup process, there are actually two different tasks that we ask you to do. One is that original True Play where you're walking around the room and you're waving your phone. And that's really for a musical context where we kind of assume that you're not going to be sitting in one place all the time listening to music. So we shouldn't overly optimize music listening for just the person sitting on the couch. So we're hearing all the room. We're able to sort of fix the speaker for the room. But then when you're in the home theater context, the second task, we actually sit down. We say, please sit where you're likely to be watching TV. And then we'll optimize that for sort of the home theater context. And our assumption is most people don't wander around while they're watching a movie, so we are going to optimize more for that center seating area. And we know from the source sort of which of those two optimizations to apply. Certainly, there's times when, for example, you might be streaming something that's not music. For example, I like podcasts, and so spoken word, you're actually going to do different stuff on your DSP processing. The speaker knows that. It hears the incoming source and says, oh, this is spoken word, it's not music, I'm going to do something special. And then the same thing for home theater content. If we perceive what is sounds like a musical soundtrack, we're likely to optimize it much more for music than we are for a home theater soundtrack.
There's a subwoofer actually inside this thing. That's probably the biggest design challenge, is getting a subwoofer to fit in something this thin. And there's also this crazy S-shaped tube for pushing air out. They said that they curled it into an S because the actual length of the tube would have been longer than the speaker itself if they straightened it out. So that was one of the design challenges they had to overcome to make this work.
And then we just knew that if we were gonna have a woofer of that size, the amount of air that's going to generate and the frequencies we're looking for, we just knew from a mathematical formula, we knew we were going to need a port larger than the product. And so that immediately led us to, well, we have to figure out how to fit that in there, and the S shape is likely the best way to curl that up.
Other than that, there's a couple tweeters up front that push audio out this way so you can sort of get nice stereo separation, and then more speakers right up the middle here. And other than that, it looks a lot like the Sonos Play 5 speaker, except it just got kind of squished down and spread out. It's got touch controls on the top here for play, going back, forward, changing the volume. And other than that, this just is a great loud speaker. I'll have to see how it compares to the rest of Sonos' offerings when it hits the market. They said that it's going to sound a lot like the existing Play Bar, which is their other home theater solution. But in the tests we've heard so far, it sounded playing music almost as good as the Play 5 that's already out there. So if you want something that can play music as well as do double duty, serving your home theater, this is an option that should be worth considering.
There is better sound than what comes with your television. We're so used to buying this new fancy TV and assuming it does everything. But of course, as televisions become flatter, their sound becomes worse. So actually, it's very common for us to find someone buys the TV, goes home, lives with it for 2 or 3 weeks, and says, well, it looks really nice, but there's something missing. Like, it doesn't really match the sound with that picture. We think that the speaker should be able to fit into the home, and so the idea that you have to buy some kind of weird consumer electronics to get good sound, that kind of offends us. Like, we want to be able to build speakers almost like furniture, and so this should match the room. You should see it as something you're going to live with for a long time. We think our speakers will last for at least 10 years in your home, and so part of that is sort of asking the shopper, hey, this is a long-term purchase you're about to make. we think an investment in this makes a lot of sense. Here's how it will work with your room. Here's the sound you're going to get. We think you're going to love this thing over 10 years. It's going to totally justify that price when you think about how much use you're going to get out of that product.